All right, let's talk about something we all take for granted, our home's HVAC system. It's the unsung hero working silently in the background, keeping us perfectly comfortable. We pretty much ignore it, right up until that moment it decides to quit in the most spectacular way possible. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain and really understand this thing, so you know exactly what to do when that day comes. I mean, talk about a bizarre problem, right? It is the hottest, stickiest day of the year. You're desperate for some relief, and you look outside to see your AC unit encased in a block of ice. It feels like it completely defies the laws of physics, but really it's a classic SOS signal that your system is in some serious trouble. So what on earth is going on here? Well, to get why these systems fail, you have to understand this invisible battle that's happening inside your house day in and day out. And the main enemy here, it's not usually just some random faulty part. It's the world right outside your door. We're going to use a place like Norwood, Ohio as our case study to see just how much of a beating our climate can put on these machines. Yeah, think about it this way. Your house isn't just sitting there, it's a fortress that is under a constant siege from the weather. And in places like the Ohio River Valley, the summer air isn't just hot, it's heavy. It's thick with humidity. And then, just a few months later, you're slammed with these deep, biting freezes. That relentless swing from one extreme to the other, it is just brutal on your equipment. The pros even have a name for this kind of high-stress environment, Climate Zone 5A. It sounds super technical, but it's really just a simple way to keep score of how hard your system has to work. All those degree days do is measure how much and for how long you need heating and cooling. And the takeaway is pretty clear. In a place like this, your furnace is the marathon runner, working for months on end. But that crushing summer humidity makes your AC's job just as vital. And it's not just the big picture weather, right? It's the immediate local stuff that really throws its own punches. That nonstop humidity, it literally eats away at metal parts. The soil around your house might hold on to moisture, which means your system is also fighting dampness seeping up from the basement. And especially in areas with older homes, you're probably dealing with leaky, patched-together ductwork and insulation that's seen better days. Every single one of these things adds another layer of strain. So, with all these forces stacked against it, a breakdown isn't really a question of if, it's a question of when. And when it happens, your system usually doesn't just go quietly. Nope, it gives you plenty of warning signs. The trick is knowing what you're looking and listening for. And oh yeah, these are the symptoms that just make your stomach drop. Warm air coming from your AC vents in July, or your furnace blowing cold air in January. Those are the obvious screams for help. But you also gotta listen for the whispers. Those weird grinding or clinking noises, maybe a musty smell, or that constant clicking on and off that we call short cycling. Heck, even a sudden, crazy spike in your energy bill is your system telling you, hey, I'm really struggling over here. Okay, so we know what's wrong on the surface. Now, let's put on our detective hats and connect those outward signs of distress to the actual mechanical culprits that are causing all the chaos. Okay, here's a super common one. Your AC feels like it's running all the time, but the house just never gets cool, and your electric bill is slowly creeping up. What's the deal? Well, remember all that humidity we talked about? It literally causes your refrigerant lines to corrode, creating these tiny, slow leaks. Your system is basically bleeding out its cooling power. And get this, that lack of refrigerant is exactly what can cause the coils to get way too cold, leading to that block of ice on your outdoor unit. Have you ever seen a puddle of water around your indoor unit and had a small panic attack? Well, this is probably why. Your AC is basically a giant dehumidifier, pulling gallons of water out of the air. That water has to go somewhere. But over time, the drain line gets clogged up with all kinds of gunk. When it does, the water backs up, and a little safety switch, thankfully, shuts the whole system down to keep your house from flooding. It's a total shutdown caused by a tiny and usually preventable problem. And what about that classic problem? The my bedroom is an oven, but the living room is an icebox syndrome? Well, that points straight to your home's circulatory system, the ductwork. In a lot of older homes, ducts were kind of an afterthought. They leak, they're not the right size, which means all that precious, expensive cool air you're paying for is just getting dumped into your attic or crawl space instead of the rooms you actually live in. So the technician has delivered the bad news. And now you're facing that moment of truth, the big, expensive question that every single homeowner dreads. Do you spend a chunk of money to patch up your old, tired system, or do you bite the bullet and make the huge investment in a brand new one? Thankfully, you don't have to make this decision completely in the dark.
There's a really handy guideline out there called the $5,000 rule. Now, it's not a hard and fast law, but it's a super simple bit of math you can do to get some clarity. You just multiply how old your unit is by how much the repair is going to cost.
So let's see how it works. Let's say you have a 12-year-old air conditioner, and the tech says the repair is going to be about $500. Okay, so you take 12 years, you multiply it by $500, and you get a grand total of $6,000.
And since that $6,000 total is over the $5,000 threshold, the rule is basically flashing a big red light. It's a strong signal that you're probably better off putting that repair money toward a new, reliable system instead. It really helps you avoid throwing good money after bad on a unit that's already on its last legs.
And this chart just lays it all out perfectly. Look, a repair is cheaper today, no doubt about it. But a replacement is really an investment that pays you back over time. We're talking significant long-term savings, like 25 to 35% off your fuel costs with some of these new high-efficiency units. You get the peace of mind of a brand new warranty, and you basically hit the reset button, giving you another 15 to 20 years of comfort you don't have to worry about.
Okay, so whether you just paid for a big repair or you've got a shiny new system, the goal now is to never have to go through that stress again, right? So let's run through a few simple rules of thumb that will help your HVAC live a long, healthy life and make you a much smarter homeowner.
First up is the 2-foot rule, and you can literally do this one right now. Go look at your outdoor unit. Is it getting swallowed by bushes? Is the fence too close? That thing needs to breathe to get rid of heat. If it's all crowded, you're forcing it to work way harder than it needs to. Just give it at least 2 feet of clear space all the way around. It's one of the easiest efficiency boosts there is.
Next, the 3-minute rule. If you ever have to turn your system off at the thermostat, just wait at least 3 minutes before you turn it back on. This little pause lets the pressure inside the system balance out. Firing it up too quickly puts a massive strain on the compressor, which is the heart of the whole system. Now, the good news is most new thermostats have this delay built right in, but it's really good to know why it's pausing. And hey, for anyone who is leaning towards getting a new system, listen up, because timing is everything. You do not want to be shopping for an AC in the middle of a July heat wave. The smartest time to buy is during the shoulder seasons, fall and spring. The pros are less swamped, and you can usually find better deals and get on the schedule way easier. A little planning here can save you a ton of stress and money.
And finally, maybe the most important habit you can build: proactive maintenance. Just think of it like taking your car in for an oil change. It's a twice-a-year checkup for your house. Get a pro to tune up your AC in the spring before it gets hot. Then have them come back in the fall to check on the furnace. This is hands down the best way to catch those little problems when they're cheap and easy to fix before they turn into a full-blown catastrophe. When you really think about it, your home's comfort system is talking to you all the time. It whispers. It whispers in those slightly higher energy bills, in those weird little noises you hear at night, in that one room that's always a little off. So the real question this all boils down to is, are you listening to the whispers, or are you just going to wait for the scream?